Okay, hi. We're continuing with life science and cell biology in a nutshell. So previously, we're learning about fat molecules, how glycerol backbone plus fatty acid chains make fat molecules or triglycerols. So triacylglycerols are fat molecules. And the fatty acid tails we learned can be either saturated with all single bonds between the hydrocarbon groups, or they may contain double bonds, either one or more, making them unsaturated chains. So if they have only one single bond, they're called monounsaturated. More than one, they're called polyunsaturated. So, if they have, if most unsaturated fats are liquid at room temperature and are called oils. So the double bond makes them oils, more fluid. Unsaturated fats or oils are usually plant origin and contain cis unsaturated fatty acids. So cis is when you have a kink in the unsaturated fatty acid molecule. So the double bond has two hydrogens on the same plane. In this conformation, there's a kink in the molecule, in the chain of hydrocarbons, making it fluid or oil. And however, in if you have a double bond, but you have trans hydrogens on the opposite planes of the unsaturated molecule, you're still going to have a straight chain, so there's no kink, therefore it's more solid. So oils are turned into more solid forms by uh, a process where trans fats are formed, such as making of margarine, for example. So this is called a trans fat. So it's unsaturated, but it's still a straight chain, and it's more rigid and solid because there's no kink in the molecule, even if there is a double bond. So, however, margarine is used, these more solid fats are used in the food industry as also peanut butter. So, and shortening. So, trans fats are used to a certain extent, even though too much of it can clog arteries since they're a little more rigid and solid, um, unlike cis unsaturated fatty acid. So again, a fat molecule is triacylglycerol, for example, is formed by joining three fatty acids to a glycerol backbone via a process called dehydration, so or hydrogenation. So the combination of the glycerol, which has OH groups, and the fatty acid, which has an OH tip, um, results in a water or H2O being released when these two combine. So three H2O are lost, and the in order to form the triacylglycerol molecule, and this is three molecules of water are lost, and an ester bond forms between the glycerol and the fatty acid chains, forming this fat molecule. So the hydrogen from the fatty acid combines with the hydroxy group of glycerol, making three waters, and the oxygen, um, which is basically the linking point between the glycerol and the fatty acid chain, um, is there, and the other double bound oxygen, which is on the fatty acid chain, makes the makes an ester bond at that point. So the fatty acid tip has a carboxy group or a COOH group, which helps to make the ester bond between the fatty acid chain and the glycerol. So again, this is called dehydration reaction. Polyunsaturated fatty acids are essential fatty acids, which are um, uh, good because they have multiple double bonds, are more fluid, and they uh, reduce blood clotting, heart attacks, etc. So they're beneficial. These are usually found in fish and are recommended for diet. These are called omega-3 fatty acids. Usually, they're not made by human body, but must be ingested. So the third carbon from the end of the chain is a double bond. So this section is fat waxes. These are nonpolar lipids that plants and animals use for protection and have many functions. Natural waxes are typically esters of fatty acids and long chain alcohols. Animal wax esters are derived from a variety of carboxylic acids and fatty alcohols. Um, so plant waxes are derived from mixtures of long chain hydrocarbons containing functional groups. Because of their hydrophobic nature, waxes prevent water from sticking on plants and animals. Synthetic waxes are derived from petroleum or polyethylene and consist of long chain hydrocarbons that lack functional groups. Synthetic waxes are used in adhesives, cosmetics, food, many other commercial products. Waxes are a type of long-chain nonpolar lipid. Natural waxes are typically esters of fatty acids and long-chain alcohols. They're synthesized by many animals and plants. Animal wax esters are derived from a variety of carboxylic acids and fatty alcohols. The composition of a wax depends not only on the species but also on the geographic location of the organism. The best known wax is beeswax in animals. Other insects secrete waxes as well. A major component of beeswax is the ester myricyl palmitate, which bees use for constructing honeycombs. Um, let's see, and then spermaceti is a wax occurring in large amounts in the oil of a sperm whale's head. One of its main constituents is cetylpalmitate, an ester, fatty acid, and fatty alcohol. Plant waxes are derived from mixtures of long-chain hydrocarbons containing functional groups such as alkanes, fatty acids, alcohols, diols, ketones, and aldehydes, which we learned about functional groups previously. Plants also have or use waxes as protective coating to control evaporation and hydration and prevent them from drying out. Waxes are valuable to both plants and animals because of their hydrophobic nature. This makes them water resistant, preventing water from sticking onto surfaces. Unlike most natural waxes, which are esters, synthetic waxes consist of long chain hydrocarbons lacking functional groups. Paraffin wax is a type of synthetic wax derived from petroleum refined by vacuum distillation. Synthetic waxes may also be obtained from polyethylene. Millions of these waxes are produced annually. They're used in adhesives, cosmetics, sealants, lubricants, insecticides, UV protection, used in foods like chewing gum. Here's the formula for beeswax. Ester myricyl palmitate is a major component of beeswax. So we have a carbon and an ester bond, doubly bound oxygen, singly bound oxygen, and two hydrocarbon chains, very long ones. So We'll continue in the next